And now, today's seniors living well with your host, Laurie Webb.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to today's Seniors Living Well. Our theme this series, our sixth series, this is the fourth show of our sixth series, is Aging Doesn't Need to Be a Puzzle. And the Senior Center is there to help you unravel or put together that puzzle of aging. This series we've focused on other folks in the community who have resources to help you deal with the puzzle of aging. And also we've had three lovely senior guests who have figured out the puzzle of aging and shared their wisdom with us. And we're going to have another one of those this morning a little later. And before I forget, don't forget Sunday's Mother's Day. There's a lot going on this weekend. And don't forget to get your Mother's Day candy at the Senior Center, where we have a very limited supply, but we have a lot of different wonderful things. So, and I could be really saccharine and say, and next to me is one of the sweetest men in Amador County.
Thank you, Laurie.
But he actually is really a wonderful person. And you sweeten the life of your staff every Christmas by providing seized candy to them, too.
I do. I make a point to come over. Obviously, Fred Joyce was a longtime friend of the family, and kind of helped to honor Fred and
Yes.
to do that,
Yes,
and
we appreciate that.
to make sure that I continue that tradition that he started. So,
Yes.
absolutely.
That's great. And in case any of you don't know the gentleman next to me, this is Martin Ryan, who is our sheriff. And thanks for coming back on the show.
Well, thanks, Laurie. I always enjoy the opportunity to meet with you.
And you have a lot of stuff to tell us today.
We have a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
and,
which is good things, too.
Good
Shall
things,
we say?
absolutely.
Good things.
As opposed to some of the later, or the most recent headlines that you've seen,
Exactly.
things
The chases and missing people.
with
yeah.
regards to the seniors is pretty positive, and I think I can provide them with some information that will help them through that puzzle
The
that
puzzle.
you talked about. Yes.
All righty.
Yeah.
So, well, let's start with the program that we've talked about before, which is the Hidden Key program.
Yes. Yes.
And I think maybe if you could just explain to people why deputies can't pull a CSI and just burst in the door when they show up.
Sure. Unfortunately, that's a television program, as well as a lot of the police programs. But unless we have some exigent circumstance, if we get a call to do a welfare check on someone that hasn't been seen or was missing or showed up late, and they just want to find out if they're okay. And we go to that residence and we don't see any signs of distress or break-in or anything else that would create an emergency for us.
Right.
We're not authorized to kick in a door and to go in that residence. And there's a couple reasons for that. One of them being you as a citizen don't want us kicking in the doors if you're just sleeping in late.
Exactly.
It creates that issue for you, and it could create a dangerous situation for the civilian and for the officers breaking into somebody's house. You don't know who that is coming through the door. There's a lot of bad things that could happen from that. So that's the reason for that.
Right.
But in order to make it more efficient for us to get in, to make sure people are okay, this Hidden Key program was created a few years ago, with a lot of help from your side of the shop.
From the
so we
Commission on
appreciate that very
Aging,
much.
yeah.
And so what that allows people to do is to provide us with a location of a hidden key somewhere with their residence or with a neighbor, so that if we get one of those calls, that call for service comes up on our mobile data terminals in the cars, and it tells us the address history, and that also provides us with identification that there is a hidden key and where the location is. So we know that going to that location that we have access, and we can go in a little more covertly and quietly and notify the residents and make sure that things are okay. So the way you go about doing that is there are forms available. I know Senior Center
We
has
have
access to
them.
those.
Common Ground has them, yeah.
You can also go online at amadorsheriff.org and download the application. It gets sent in or delivered to the sheriff's office, and it is a secure document. We only have access to it. It's in our secured system.
Right.
So it's not a public record that people can access to see where your keys are.
Right.
And we encourage people to, all people, not just seniors, to sign up for that if they're in a remote location or if they have health issues, so that we can get there faster.
Get into the house more quickly
Absolutely.
if you need to. And we don't fill them out or send them in. The people have to either take them, across the street over to the sheriff's office or send them in.
That's correct.
So only you guys have the address and the location.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Only people that are,
And I was
secure.
actually monitoring a call on my terminal in the car the other day, and I saw an address pop up that had the hidden key notification on it, and I was very gratified to see
Yeah,
that. That was nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so we know that the sheriff can get in if they need, and I assume that, like if it was in Sutter Creek, the other law enforcement could contact you and say, are these people part of Hidden Key?
Well, we're all connected to the same
to the
system.
same system, that's
So
right. Okay.
they would get an address, that information would show up on their address as well.
Oh, okay.
So when they come in and check it out, they would have it just like we would have it.
Okay, so the answer to people who say, well, I'm not in the sheriff's area is it doesn't matter.
Correct.
Still need to have,
all the police departments have that information.
Great, okay.
Sure.
Good. All right. So you have these nice emergency guides too that you all put out.
We did, and big reason for doing that is, and in this format, was to make it something that would last. We used to do it in sort of a newspaper
Right, that would come
format.
out, yeah.
But this is a slick back, hard copy.
Durable.
Durable, and it's, while it's dated 2012, the information is still current. We make sure that it is.
Right.
And these are available through the sheriff's office or obviously through the senior
We have
center.
them at the senior center.
I know they have them here at the station. We encourage people to pick one up. It covers a lot of resources. It covers a lot of information, a lot of tips for safety throughout the various seasons that we experience here in Amador.
And I had a guy come in a couple of weeks ago, and he asked for 3 of them. And I said, oh, are you going to give them to your neighbors? And he said, no, I keep one in my car, and one in my RV, and one in my house.
That's outstanding.
I said, excellent.
We love that, and,
Yeah.
and good cooperation through the Amador Ledger Dispatch that donated the printing for us.
wonderful.
And it was
Yeah.
outstanding cooperation, so we're glad to see that.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Now, we had something a couple weekends ago that we talked about on here, that your prescription medication Take Back the Drug Day. How'd that go?
Right. Well, in conjunction with Drug Enforcement Administration, a lot of local agencies pair with them in order to have these twice a year, and it allows people to get rid of unwanted prescription drugs. Unfortunately, in this community, as many others, those are a source and a target for burglars. Young people are getting into prescription drug abuse at an alarming rate. Not really knowing what it is, but assuming it's safe because it's a prescription drug.
Right.
And so, in order to cut down that threat to our young people, and take it out of the mainstream and available for those thefts, we partner with DEA. We did so last week, and I'm pleased to say that we had 138 pounds of prescription drugs taken off the street
Great.
that one day here in
Great.
Amador County.
Great.
And you expand that through Northern California, and there was 20 tons of prescription drugs
amazing.
taken out of Northern California.
And that's drugs that aren't going into the landfill now either,
That's
right?
correct.
Because
So there's
they
an environmental
incinerate 'em.
protection. They are burned, they're incinerated. They're not flushed down the toilets and sent
sewer
down the
into the ocean,
streams, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
and people have been very good about that. They understand, and seniors are very much on top of this. You know, they either are through with their medications or unfortunately had a loved one pass, didn't know what to do with those prescription drugs, and so those are the opportunities for people to bring those to us. We ask no questions.
Right, no,
we
you just
we
drive
want 'em
up
off the street.
and drop them in the...
And you've done that, so you
I
understand
have.
that. So we appreciate the cooperation too with the senior center in helping us get the word out about that and making it so successful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. When I went this time, the 3 people ahead of me in line were all senior citizens with their little bags.
You know, but you find the seniors are very conscientious about that.
That's good.
I get asked all the time, when are you going to have the next one?
Yeah.
You know, and so we want to make sure that we're there for them to be able to dispose of those safely.
Great. Okay, well, what else is going on? What other public services?
Well, I think one of the things that just as a reminder, we're still seeing scams come through. They primarily target seniors. They come in different forms. One of the most common is a letter saying that you've won the lottery, but you need to send us some money up front in order to collect it, or I won a lottery and I would like to share that with you. I have no other relatives and you've been selected.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so if you send us a check, then I can get it out of the bank because there's a fee to do that, and then I'll split it with you. That's one of the more common ones. Another one that's particularly tough on seniors is what we call the grandchildren scam.
Yeah.
People calling saying, I'm in Canada, I've been arrested, I need bail money, can you mail it up to me? And people don't bother to check those out first, and they send a check or money order, whatever it may be. And we just ask people when they get those kind of calls, A, if it's too good to be true, it is.
It is.
And secondarily, if you have any questions at all, check with a neighbor, check with someone you trust, call us before you actually sign that
do
check
anything.
and do
Right.
that and make sure
Right.
that it's a legitimate thing.
Right.
And then the only other thing I would like to remind people is we are in fire season. And it's critically important that people understand and prepare, that they have their things together before it occurs, that they have escape routes planned out, and they've driven them,
Right.
so that they have primary and secondary ways of getting out.
That's a good idea, because
You don't know
you
where the
don't
fire's
know
going
if
to be.
you can get out or not. Yeah,
And the other thing is, we get questions all the time, well, where are the safe centers going to be? Where are the evacuation centers going to be? And we can't say until we know where the fires are.
Where the fire is,
Because
yeah.
you can say it's going to be a Pioneer Elementary School, and the fire is around Pioneer, that's
Right.
out.
Right, exactly.
So we need to do it
That's
at the time, and so we can't really give people a lot of heads up when that is.
Right,
But-
and there's a number of MOUs with various, I know we have one at the senior center to be a transportation transition center.
Right,
so,
right.
yeah.
And then just one other thing quickly is that yesterday we had a major exercise, fire-related exercise, over at the fairgrounds with a bunch of partners, Office of Emergency Services out of my office, Search and Rescue, our animal rescue folks, public health, mental health,
Wow.
ambulance services, and simulated a fire and what happens with not only people but animals. And people forget that too, that animals, neighbors that have mobility problems, all of those things need to be taken into consideration in advance
Right,
of the
have
disaster
that
happening.
in your plan.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here
Absolutely.
today. And if somebody wanted to call you and ask you about any of these programs, how
Sure.
would they reach you?
Best way to reach me is at the office, area code 209-223-6500, or you can go on amadorsheriff.org, and we have a place
great
you can,
website.
and you can shoot into an information and a question into us at that point. That way I can make sure I get it to the right staff. If I don't know personally,
Right.
I'll make sure you get the answer back.
Great. All right, well, thank you again, Martin, for being here.
Absolutely, Lori.
We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about another protective service in Amador County.